See, bro, in the morning, Laura Styles. We have Malik Yoba on the show today. Give it up for Malik Yoba, man. And Malik, introduce the young lady.
Emily Abt, ABT, Emily Abt, director.
Director. Now, Malik's here. Obviously, he was on last season of Empire. I'm sure we'll get into
the only one that counted. Did I just say that out
loud? But you have. I mean, the reason you're here today is because I want something serious that you're working on, a documentary. What would you call it? A documentary?
It's a documentary.
It is a documentary.
Directed by this young lady here, Emily Abt. Emily is a former social worker and was working in the Bronx with a population that's usually underrepresented in film and storytelling. So men of extreme conditions that, despite the obstacles, have fought to be present fathers. And I know you're a new dad. I'm a dad of 7. Are you a dad? You're not a dad. You look like you can make somebody a dad, though. That's what you look like.
Yo, Malik, we just started the interview.
I'm sorry. Slow down. Got excited. But yeah, Emily directed the film and got me on board during the post-production phase. They actually stalked me. It's a great story how they literally Googled me, found my mother, which is kind of scary, and went to my mom's house. And
that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
that's
and she happened to be walking out of the building, and her one of her producing partners said, "Do you happen to know?" Mention my mother's name, and because they were trying to find me, I started a foundation for fathers like 17 years ago.
Well, that's why they're looking for you.
Yeah. Because I've been doing fatherhood.
Because I was going to say, okay, why? Just
because
did you not pay some bill? You got so much child we don't know about.
My story in the fatherhood movement started when I became a dad. Well, really, it started when I was doing New York Undercover. To be honest, doing that role of J.C. Williams as a father really impacted people's lives in profound ways that I didn't even understand as a 26-year-old when I started.
Right.
And I was always struck by how many people literally felt they became better fathers because of that show. And so I modeled that character after my brother, who was a teenage dad, and my father, who was very present in my life. And so when I became a dad and my relationship didn't work out with my kid's mom, I took her to court, and during that time, there wasn't a lot of support for men who wanted to be present fathers. So there isn't as much. It's a little better.
I saw a documentary about family court and the way they just the way it kind of tears families down. Yeah. So, and even when things aren't working out with the relationship, you could still co-parent and be successful.
Right.
The documentary made it look like family court even kind of destroys the ability to even just be amicable parents that are active in the child's life.
Absolutely. And so that's been my movements for almost 2 decades. And so, Emily, you could talk about how the film started for you.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you talking about the court system, because I think right now we're still in a time where fathers are very much treated like second-class parents in the system. And so the film is really an homage to all the dads out there, but specifically disadvantaged fathers who are really trying to stay in the game against the odds. And, we followed these 4 young men over the course of 2 years to really show the obstacles that they're up against in trying to be good dads. But we feel like their story is very universal and, speaks for millions of dads out there who are really trying to be present for their kids no matter what. I saw the trailer. It was 4 individuals in the trailer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
One and different backgrounds, black, Spanish, white, dealing with incarceration, but back in there dealing with homelessness, not being able to find jobs in shelters with their kids, doing whatever they can to be great dads and not really getting support, which is a whole other layer of the conversation of even, people who are formerly incarcerated trying to fit back into society as active participants in society and not being able to find any jobs just because, and that's why Obama's doing the, block the box thing and, get that kind of all out of the system in ways so people could get jobs. But this film that you set out on, Emily, you did this specifically because you knew it was an area that wasn't being talked about? You felt like it needed some more attention? What is it exactly?
Well, basically, there's this really played out stereotype about the deadbeat dad. And, as a former caseworker and making other social issue documentaries in the city, that just never matched up to the reality I was witnessing. Just so many dads who, very disadvantaged on multiple levels. You talked about the guys in the film, ex-offenders, dealing with homelessness, all kinds of problems, but, just being completely devoted to their kids nonetheless. And so this film is for guys like them. Right. And, it's very real. I won't try and sugarcoat it. The guys in our film go through really difficult things. But, ultimately they remain very present for their children day in and day out. Well, with the exception of one of our dads who was taken away for a little while. But, I think, I think there's a sort of myth out there about the maternal instinct. I do believe that there is a parenting instinct, but I don't think it's gender specific. And I think that what we really wanted to do with this film was show the nurturing side of these guys, because I think one way that we're mistaken in terms of how we view fathers today is that we're really hung up on this whole provider thing, and very focused on getting child support payments from dads. And I think that's very short-sighted. I think that fathers can be just as nurturing and emotionally present for their kids as mothers. And I think we really need to accept that reality because, the film is just part of a movement. Like, there are so many proud fathers out there, like Twitter handles, proud papa, stay-at-home dad. The way we define fatherhood is rapidly changing. And so this film is supposed to be, hopefully it will be a real lightning rod for the fatherhood movement.
When I became a dad, it was interesting in the process you do, and, my lady and I are together, right? So, we live together, we're parenting together, and I was very active in her pregnancy, every aspect of it.
That's beautiful.
Down to even delivering my daughter, which we didn't plan to deliver it at home, but it ended up that way, and it was just me and her until we called 911. It was a crazy incident, which is a whole nother story. But point being is, as a father, you do feel, I don't know if it's just social programming or people expecting you to not participate in certain things.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Like who's changing diapers? Oh, you're not changing. I changed the first diaper. I change diapers every day, if you know what I mean, if that's what the schedule permits. Or even down to breastfeeding and supporting the mother while she's breastfeeding and being a part of that plan and setting the plan so she could rest. And you just have, you as a dad, you feel people going, oh, no, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because with your story, Ibra's been very open about fatherhood, like every step of the way. And outside of the show, people would come up to me and be like, wow, I can't believe Ibra really knows so much. I'm like, it's his child, it's his first child.
Right.
But you'd be surprised how many people are surprised that he's so involved in every step of the pregnancy, every step of the way, and
But
was so informed.
That's so old school. And I'll tell you something, you talked about the court system earlier. Up until 1987, children could be put up for adoption and, easily put into foster care without even notifying the father. Thankfully, that changed with the Family and Adoption Act. But even now, like I said, fathers are very much viewed as second-class parents. And a lot of times in the family court system, there's preference given to grandmothers and aunts over the father. Yeah. And also, so only 18, when a case goes to family court, fathers win only 18% of the time. And the system really discriminates against men because when they're trying to figure out where custody should go, they look at a man's income, but not a woman's. So if a man is unemployed, that really hurts his chances of getting custody. And I think that's so old school because
it's a double standard.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
And there's we talk about double standards frequently on this show, and some of them are real, and you just kind of suck it up and deal with it. And I don't think people think of men having to deal with double standards that make us feel, like you said, second-class parents, and sometimes ostracized from even being a part of things. You're just supposed to provide and then go sit down. And men that want to do more, sometimes you catch a little pressure from the family. Not necessarily the moms, but there are some moms who are like, no, I do this and you do that.
That's how I ended up taking my kid's mom to court because, I was that dude that was using vitamin E oil on the belly, cocoa butter. I delivered my daughter at my first child at a birthing center. I was there for the birth of I've got 3. The middle one it was 3 a.m. I was tired. I went home, and then she came like an hour after I went to sleep or something. But I went through those issues. You go into the store to shop, and people go, "Are you sure you know the size? Are you sure you know what size diapers?
Sure you know what you're doing?"
Which was crazy. And so that's why I believe in the power of film, and the power of what we do. So as you say, like through the radio platform, Ebro talks about being a parent, and you run into people in society who will tell you they're shocked. And I think that's the power of this film in particular, and I think film in general and art in general as an agent of change. Because when you see this film, I told Ebro I cried. Like I literally, when I finally saw the final cut, and I called Emily, I was like, "Yo, what are you trying to do to me? Like, yo, this is not fair." Like I'm in there bawling because I relate to it on so many levels, and it is a universal story. And so for me, it's not even like a choice. It's like I have to participate in projects like this. I have to continue this legacy, and it's a lightning rod. I was with Rhyme Fest last night, and he's got a film, which we got to talk about, called In My Father's House, where, it's a documentary about, his father was never around, and he ended up finding the house that his father grew up in and bought it and moved his family in, which is a whole other story. We talked about how we can go on tour with these two films and really use this as a tool, which is part of my commitment. And I'll say that's what we're doing, like with my company, Iconic 32. That's what we do. We use pop culture to promote social good. And so Doc NYC happens this weekend in New York at the SVA Theater on 23rd Street. The premiere is 9:45. It's on the late side, but that's when we premiere. But beyond the screening on the 14th and the 17th during the Doc NYC Festival, and people can go to docnyc.org to get tickets, this is going to be used as a tool. We're looking for foundation support, corporate support. There's so many men that are in this situation, and so many women, so many children, so many families, that need to see representations of themselves. How many people need to just see, oh man, my man was locked up and he still held it down, or this dude's daughter and himself have mental health issues, like severe mental health issues. But as Emily said in the film, the nurturing component of what you see in these men.
It's in the trailer. He won't give up either.
He
was like, "Yo, I'm not giving up. I don't care what they try to do."
They call me a deadbeat. I have to either be dead or somebody got to beat me.
Yeah.
And it's serious. And I think that's the value of this film. This isn't Transformers. This isn't just pop culture like nonsense. This is something that is purposeful. And so that's why.
And it's something I think that we all, no matter where you're from or your walk of life, there's family. The family unit is being redefined in our society, very much so.
And so is manhood.
Right? Yeah. So, and you know what? And I think another piece too. They make fun of me. They call me ebrotional, but but I feel like
I mean, we have to do it.
Yeah, they have to. I feel like I'm 40, so I'm comfortable being in touch with things that make me upset or make me feel some type of way, whereas when I was 25, I'm good, that's just what. And as you get older as a man, you get more aware of, wait a minute, this is something that I really care about, or that hurt my feelings, or I didn't like the way this felt. Or you're more aware that you're emotionally immature in some ways, because as a man, when you're raised in America, in the society, being in touch with your emotions is clown shit. Like, you're not supposed to show that, right? And that's why men end up acting crazy sometimes, or doing things that we're like, why did that man disappear? Where he was ashamed, right? He was embarrassed of who he was, and so he left his family behind because he couldn't face walking in the door every day and feeling like I have nothing to offer, because the expectation is I just bring money and that's it.
Yeah.
That's right. Just to add to that, 1 in 3 children in America is growing up without a father. And it's a real problem, because basically if you grow up without a dad, and this is no disrespect to single mothers out there who I have so much respect for, or, women that are together raising children, but the research shows time and time again that there's a very, very high correlation between fatherlessness and prison, dropping out of high school,
that number's
growing
crazy.
up in poverty.
Like in the 80s, 80%
it's the highest social indicator of a child's future success. So this is not a game at all. I just want to mention that, we chose our guys very, very carefully. and very intentionally. And we looked for guys that weren't soft and cuddly. We looked for guys with real issues. Roy was in prison for 6 years. He's an ex-offender. Nelson is a former Latin King member. But so these guys, you know, in a lot of ways, they're not your typical soft and cuddly father that you might see on a commercial, but yet they're very affectionate with their children, very present, just breaking silly stereotypes left and right. And like Malik said, that's the power of film. That's what we really want to show. Because the reality is a lot of guys are bouncing, a lot of guys are leaving, and we wanted to show why that's happening and also show guys that are not leaving against the odds because of their love for their children.
And what's the name of the documentary one more time?
Daddy Don't Go, this Saturday, November 14th.
And we can watch the trailer on YouTube right now?
You can watch it on YouTube.
Vimeo. Yeah, just Google Daddy Don't Go trailer.
Yeah.
Now, Malik, you Empire season 1, we started the conversation. You took a shot.
Great show. No, it's a great show, man.
You took a shot.
Yo, it's a great show. I didn't take a shot. You know, I said it was the best season for me. Did I say that? I didn't clarify. I meant the best season for me, personally. It was a great season. It was a great season.
I watched last season. I fell off this season.
I had a crusty body when they found me a couple of weeks ago. You know, it's official. He's dead.
Yeah, you're
Vernon's
gone.
gone.
Sorry.
Vernon's gone.
They busting your head. She busting your head
She
wide
busted
open.
my head. Yeah. That's how they do it.
So, but after that, you know, I guess leading into the week where you got your head bust open, Vernon gets his head bust open on Empire, you heard scandal on the blogs with regard to Malik
Actually,
Yoba.
after it was it was unfortunate that people chose to do that, but you know.
But what was that built on? Is there any truth to the drama on the set with Malik Yoba?
No. And you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, that's why you see I'm proudly wearing Iconic 32 T-shirt. You know what this means?
That's your company.
It's our company because we exist at the intersection of pop culture and social good. And so as someone who has been part of pop culture since I did my first film in 1989. You know, Cool Runnings was the biggest thing in 93 that I had done as a younger person. And then, of course, New York Undercover and 13 series later, 30-something films later. For me, it's important that my position in the landscape of pop culture has always been about positivity. So the facts speak for themselves. I mean, up until that situation, which we're not going to really mention specifically because there's power in nonsense. We're not going to do that.
Fair enough.
But I choose to do things like, you know, support and work with Emily on films like Daddy Don't Go, even on her next film that she's doing with Paula Patton and Omar Epps. And if Omar is too busy, I'm going to step in for Omar. Mike Epps, sorry.
Epps.
Oh, let's give a shout to Omar Epps because Omar, is an executive producer on this film as well.
Okay.
Mike Epps, sorry about that. And, you know, doing things like, you know, the Pop Culture Summit we did. And you know, during that summit, it was about redefining pop culture as person of purpose.
Yeah.
And so I stand true to that, you know, to live purposefully and intentionally. I think the stuff you just talked about, emotional intelligence among men, I think is really, really important, especially using the platforms that we have. And that's what I choose to focus on. You know, I don't gossip personally.
Well, you were mum on it.
Yeah.
You mum on it now. Like,
Yeah.
they really came for you, and they really tried to make it look like you had did something
But
wrong.
that's okay. I mean, there's a bullet wound right here, bro.
Oh, he's ready.
So I got shot at 15. You know what I mean? People tried to take my life for real. And so since 15 years old, I've dedicated my life. I'm 48. All over the world, building schools in Africa and working in Jamaica and working in
Basically,
Rikers.
they can't take you.
They can't because God got this. And you know, if you look at the history of all people who stand up for righteousness and do the right thing, they get persecuted. And I'm cool with that. There's been Marley, there's been Mandela, there's been Mahatma Gandhi, there's been Malik Yoba.
You putting yourself in that category?
Absolutely. Because those are the people that I live for.
and aspire to
the
be
Harry
like.
Belafontes of the world, the Paul Robesons of the world.
Yeah.
Every single one of these individuals was persecuted. And so when you know, the reality of Empire, when I found out they were killing the character, I was in Ferguson raising money with the Urban League.
Yeah.
You know, when the season finale happened, we raised $5,000 for the Prisoner College Pipeline program right here in New York City at Bounce NYC. So if you look at the consistency of my history, you're not going to find but one bleep in the whole history of 20-something years of being in the public eye. So you can do the math on that one.
Well, there you go. I mean, we had to talk about it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that.
And now you're getting back to your workouts. For y'all watching this, Malik Yoba literally came here on his bike from the gym to do this
from
interview.
Brooklyn to the gym, then to spin class, which I'm going to right now.
Wait, why are you working out so much?
Because I'm going to be a fat boy and they're going to talk about me. Got to go.
He needs to be fit.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
Daddy
Thank
Don't
you.
Go, the documentary. Make sure you check the website one more time.
Daddy Don't Go, .com? What is it?
DaddyDon'tGoTheMovie.com.
you
And I
go.
just want to thank you all for having us here.
No
It means
problem.
so much to me. I've been a diehard fan of Hot 97
White
for
girls are
many years.
fans too.
Oh
Holla.
my God, hell yeah. White homegirl
From
in the
Boston.
house.
From Boston.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
been
go.
a
But she
fan.
lives in Brooklyn, so
Been a
it's all
fan
good.
since 93 when I started as a freshman at NYU.
Wow. Thank
Love
you.
Hot 97.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, man.